Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where today we're breaking down the Community Shield. I was going to do a little bit about Manchester City and why they're not going to win the league, but I'm going to do that in a separate video because there's a couple of key points I'm going to sort of get into a little bit. Now, we all know that the Community Shield is just a glorified friendly with a little piece of tin at the end of it, which is fair enough. No teams are really going at it full. But what you are looking for in pre-season, I'm going to show you a couple of these little things because you're not really worried about goals scored and conceded. You're worried about how they're scored and how they're conceded. They're the important parts. And it doesn't necessarily matter if you do score goals or don't. It's depending on whether or not you've got some little mistakes that are creeping in that you should or shouldn't have polished out. And this is one of them right here that I'm going to talk about. So you can see this right here. You've got a little 3 here and a 3 here. But can you see this gap? All right, this is problematic. This happens, I think, in another one of United's friendlies. And this is an issue. And the reason why this is an issue is because this is something that's been happening a couple of times in the pre-seasons. These are the things that you're looking for to make sure that they don't happen before the season gets underway. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because you've got this massive area of space that people can play the ball into. Now, if you're seeing this system, this little floor here, and we are about 5 yards back and we're doing it on the 18-yard line, you're not as worried because this gap then isn't as big because the actual the end line takes over the space. So if they do try to play it through, chances are it's going to go out for a goal kick anyway, so you're not bothered. But you watch this as this play goes on. You can see that Man City players immediately identify that these two players are too high, too far up. And there's a couple of errors here as well, right? So it's not just, it's about why this little gap of space is appearing. If you look how close these two centre-backs are, they're too tight and too close together. And he's too far worried about this player over here, which he shouldn't be. So can you see the whole system, like the whole shape isn't quite right. There's too narrow gap there, too big of a gap there, and there's absolutely shocking spacing going on here. These are the little mistakes that you're going, oh, well, at this beginning of the season, this is going to be a problem. So that's what you're looking for in this game. That's what you're looking to really try get away. Are we in our proper shape? Are we moving fluidly together? And Man United aren't. But I am going to come on to some good things that United have been doing, which I haven't seen in quite a while. So let's just move this on a little bit. Right, can you see again, the two centre-backs don't really quite know what to do. Is it Martinez is here? I think this is Johnny Evans with him as well. Johnny Evans should be marking Haaland. Martinez needs to be getting away and making sure that he's not that far. That's probably too far. Probably about there. He just needs to be getting away so we can cover or block in the pass to Haaland. But they're both man marking him for absolutely no reason. And it's opening up this little gap here. They don't take advantage of it, City, but they start to. You can see these runners as they go here. Like 1, 2. You can see the run. Can you see the space he's making there? Because they're all pulled and out of shape. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 players going for the ball. And all of a sudden, this one running behind would have completely torn them apart if he had played a quality pass in. But he doesn't. Let's show you what he does instead. Okay, because if he had just played this quality pass, it would have exposed that gap that I was looking at, and he runs with the ball instead. Just had to release it, and this guy's straight in on goal. Yeah, he doesn't identify. I think it's Oscar Bob. He's one of these young kiddies. He's okay. He's not great. He's not bad. But what ends up happening is people see him dribble the ball a bit because he's young and fast, and go, oh, look, he's going to be amazing. We'll find out at the end of this season if he's going to be any good or not. But let's get on to some of the other things that United did right and they did wrong. Actually, this is a key point here, and this is one of the reasons I think United will struggle this season. So when that little Oscar Bob chap didn't play the ball in for Grealish here, which he should have done, Grealish actually made a decent run. So everything's sort of broken down a little bit. But let's see if I can just pull it back just ever so fractionally. Right, here we go. So this is where we're looking at from here. And this is some of the worrying things I was just talking about, right? So both of these players are marking Haaland, right? Look at his run. He's completely got away from both of them. Absolutely shocking. But that isn't the problem that I see the United having, because they still, like Johnny, they're still close enough. They're still doing an okay job marking, and that's not the point I'm gonna pull up here. And when I point this out, you're gonna see it over and over again now with United's play. So it starts to break down. In comes into the inside, and this is what United do a good job of doing. Look. Even little Rashford's back. Ball comes across. This is where the ball should have gone, but there's enough players back behind the ball. They do a good job swarming around it and getting, and winning the ball back. But then the problem happens. I've seen this happen so many times with so many football teams, but it's clear and evident with United. Watch what happens here. Bosch, in comes the ball. They swarm him, and now they win the ball back, right? And then they start moving forward. And this is the problem. Casemiro's got the ball. He just needs to lay it off, left or right, anywhere, something to do, something. He just doesn't need to do the only thing. There's only one thing he doesn't need to do, and that's the thing he does. The only thing he doesn't need to do is lose the football. And as he comes in, they rob him and he loses the football. That's why United won't be good this season. You've got one of your strongest midfielders in Casemiro, who's got the ball, can't release it. There isn't anyone up front to release the ball to because they don't have a proper striker or anybody like that. Mason Mount's too busy fighting and not getting close enough and trying to link up play. And Casemiro loses the ball. So all the hard work that everyone just did, squeezing the play, getting back, defending, and even though they made some little tactical errors, remember, those tactical mistakes that United are making are the things that you need to be fixing before the season starts. They're the ones, the identifying marks that you see where you are in your pre-season and what you need to be getting right for next week. But that, losing the ball in midfield coming away, is just shocking because he's going to do that next week. That isn't something that you're going to be able to fix really quickly because he's just not good enough. His legs are gone. He shouldn't really be playing at this high level anymore. And he's just there on the shirt, the name on the back of the shirt, not on what he actually produces. But that's encompassing of how United are lately. So you see that similar mistake I was showing you on the on that other side. This is why I'm talking about it, because the same mistake is happening here. Can you see the 3 and that gap that they're opening up down the flanks because these two players are coming into they're too flat. One needs to be staggered about there. They're not. They don't quite understand what they're doing with their shape. They've got a player here. He needs to be back alongside with him here. Their shape just isn't quite right. And this is the problems that you really want to identify, because all of a sudden what happens is you just get done like this, bosh, and he's gone and he's off to the races. And now everything has changed. This is a difference of somebody actually attacking that space instead of trying to run inside like that Oscar Bobcat cat did. So here's the problem with City and that Oscar Bob guy when he ran in and made that little pass across. Everyone's going to go, oh, he was so good. No, he was rubbish, because if that was Jack Grealish on the other side and he ran into traffic and just didn't play the through ball through for the runner, he would have got hell to pay. And this is what people do, is they hold younger players to different standards than for experienced players. And that is okay, but it's really not. So that younger player should have played in Grealish, and Grealish should have had a shot on goal. Instead, they go, oh, look at him, he's really good, and he's dribbled a player, and he's passed it inside, and nothing has happened, because of it. And then that ends up becoming a thing that the player keeps repeating, the thing that isn't good enough, and isn't good enough, and isn't good enough. But it looks a bit flashy, or Jack Grealish isn't good enough. Well, he looks a bit flashy, he needs to release the ball and do this. And that's how these narratives slowly mould over time, and because people really don't know what they're talking about with football, and they're so scared to say, well, that young player should have done A, B, and C, and he didn't, and this is what's making him not good enough. Oh, yeah, that's enough about that. I could go on for ages. But soon he beats this player, I think it's Dallo out here against Doku. Doku just smokes him and just, absolutely roasts him and goes down. But then I think it's Harry Maguire, not Johnny Evans, actually. I think I'm getting these. They're just both slow and old. It doesn't really matter. But I want to show you how easy Doku goes past Maguire here. Credit where credit's due, though. Maguire does exactly the right thing. He doesn't get too close to Doku, but he starts matching his run, and he's just pace for pace there, making him beat him. There's a difference between when the defender beats himself because his body shape is wrong, or he overcommits, or he comes in too fast with the ball, or the actual striker beats the defender. This is a case where the striker beats the defender. As it moves on, though, watch, he slows it down. Oh, good, look, here he is on his own in the middle of nowhere. But now you see how that space that was, let's just say it was about there, as one player's come over and the other player hasn't shifted because he's marking him, and the left back isn't close enough to come in and cover to do a job. So the whole shape is a bit janky and it's all over the place. And that gives Doku the opportunity then just to rinse this guy 1v1, which he does. Look, slows him right down. See, Harry Maguire does a decent job slowing him down. It's just this is where he's pretty much always been rubbish. 1v1 defending, he's just blown past him. Bosh. And then it goes. And if it was a little bit better delivery or actual, probably a full City first team, someone back here, instead of these two youngsters, is getting on the end of this and scoring. But look at the 1, 2, 3, 4 United players completely in a line, and everybody else just all over the shop. This is what you'd be worried about. Not that Maguire's getting beaten 1v1, because that happens in football sometimes. It's the shape of the rest of the team. How do we look when we're under the cosh? Is our system working? Is our shape structured? And it's not. That's the worrying thing. That's the big worrying thing. But let's get on to some of the positives of United going forward. Before we do jump onto that, though, I'm just going to call out Haaland here, because this is one of the other things I have a problem with, is when great strikers, good players, make simple mistakes and they just let it go because, oh, he scores a lot of goals. No, not here. We don't do that. We say it as we see it. So Haaland's got the ball. It's clear There's no way he's going to get a strike off on goal that's going to be any way sort of meaningful whatsoever. So as we move forward, he tries this rubbishly little flick back, and so taking a touch and knocking it to his teammate here. If he knocks it to this guy here, bosh, right decision. Whatever this was the wrong decision. I don't know why people just don't call it out. They go, oh, he tried to think. Rubbish. It's terrible. Put your foot on it and pass it to your teammate. He didn't. It's not good enough. If you want to be one of the best strikers in the world ever to exist ever, you put your foot on it and you pass it to your teammate. Not good enough. Let's move on. Just going to comment on this Martinez rubbish playing the ball out of the back, how terrible it is. Now, I believe it's the same sort of fundamental issue with the Casemiro problem I just showed you a second ago. It's the fact that there isn't any sort of structure of where we need to release the ball when we're under pressure, or when there's nothing going on where we're going to play the ball. And that comes down to an actual in-behind run, trying to stretch their back four in any way, shape or form. There isn't anyone that's there, okay, I'm going to make this run, or this is how the system is going to be set up. So, Casemiro's broken through the defence. There's too many players back. He's looking for an option, and there isn't that quick ball option. They haven't got this. Okay, if this is happening, someone is in between, not staying. So what I mean in between is he's not on the back, on their back four, because he's kind of in between because we're still defending, but as soon as we win the ball, he's going high and we've got an option. In this situation, the keeper's got the ball, one of our guys, he's high, he's going to be our long option, and there isn't a long option. That's why Martinez is sat here holding his hand going, not really his hand, you know what I mean, looking for an option, and he gets closed down. Now, he's also not that good of a footballer. I know everyone thinks he is, but he's just not. He makes too many simple mistakes, but here's the other issue. He hasn't been punished for them, so no one really comments on them yet. So when you make little mistakes, I'm going to show you the difference of, explain what speed of play is and how speed of play matters. And this is really poor speed of play, right? So here we go, boom, boom, boom. He's passing the ball right here. And so 1, 2, 3, I don't know what he's thinking he's doing. And he's made a massive mistake here. Absolutely shocking. And all of a sudden, now he's recovering from his mistake. And this is what I mean. He is good at recovering from his mistakes. He does make it quite a bit, and that's why you don't notice as much, because he doesn't get scored on because of his mistakes. If he did, you'd be rating him much, much lower than you actually think he is. Okay, so let's just watch what this part. And this is what speed of play is, okay? It is how quick, from the moment you receive the ball to the moment you play the ball. That's what it is. So you get the ball down and you play it. How long does it take you to get the ball down, under control, and repass it? That is speed of play. People, it's not about it is about necessarily how fast you move the ball, but it's also like when that ball comes in, chest down and gone instantly. That's how we do it in training. That's how it needs to be. If you're not doing it that quick, you're too slow. That's what you need to think of. Now watch what happens. And the reason why this happens is because his pass is rubbish. So when this ball comes in like this, look, he needs to be on that bounce, receiving the ball right then. And he's letting the ball come to him, which is absolutely terrible, right? Because technically, when that ball bounces, it's under his controls, the goalkeeper. So it's in his sort of bracket or bubble of what we'd call the speed of play, right? So right now, this is how long it takes him to get the ball down from that bounce, right? Look how long it's taken to receive the ball, look, and another bounce to play the ball. So then what ends up happening is there's another bad pass. So he has to play, because he's waited too long for that little bouncing ball, too long to receive the ball, and now he's taken too long to pass the ball. All those little tiny microseconds add up, and now he ends up having to make a bad pass. So when we get over to here, we've got another bouncing ball, bounce. So this is the problem, bounce, speed of play again, bounce. It should have already been passed. He can't do it because he waited for the bounce. Now the bounce goes into his chest. Now he's got to bring the ball down. All way too long. And that time is enough time for this kiddie here, Haaland, to come racing in and challenge you for the football. That is absolutely shocking. Shocking. Then he doesn't read the situation. And this is another mistake from Martinez. He is making a run here down the line. So Martinez has got a simple pass to him down there. He doesn't want it back inside the danger zone. He can't even read that situation, and he plays it straight back into the danger zone, and they end up losing the football. Why he doesn't just pass it down the line here, make a simple pass? And remember, the run is telegraphing the pass. The run is dictating where that pass needs to go, and he still doesn't do it. He still passes it back inside. Not good enough. These are some of the positives, though. We're going to talk about United's actual attacking here. Now, this is really interesting because you've got a little bit of a runner coming in. And you remember that gap that I was saying, trying to point out that was happening for United? It's not there for City. Can you see? That line's not quite good enough. Can you see how they're much closer together here and that gap isn't forming? But they almost kind of make a bit of a space because there is a bit of an overload happening over here from the Man City players. And United catching them out. And this should have been a goal. Right? It just should have been a goal. So all of a sudden, you've got a runner, makes a bit of a difference, brings the player in. Now, can you see that is the gap that I'm talking about? You can see that space. Now, one of the United players identifies it and starts to make a run into it, which is really, really good. And there's a little bit of one-touch football going. There goes the run, but here's the difference. City have got enough players close enough to the ball, putting pressure on the ball that you can't easily make that pass. Unless you do I can't remember what we used to call them. Was they shovel scoops or something stupid? It was a stupid name when you're playing that ball. When you're just scooping it up with your foot. Yeah. But he doesn't do that. They play it on a little bit. Bosch goes on, but he makes another run. And with the run just gone this way, a runner that came this way, and now another. Let's just draw that out for you. We had the first runner coming in, receiving the ball. Second runner who tried to take his space. Third runner after passing it. 3 different runs. Oh, so let's just talk about what professional coaches and what we all say about running. We call it in clever words like movements. Oh, look, they've made movements. We need more movement. We need more running. Or we need more creativity. We need more running. That's what it is. More running around and more, jinks and jives makes everybody react. And this is what opens up the space. That run pulls players that way. This run here pulls players the other way. And it opens it up for this little dunk. This is... the run carries on and they both meet up with each other. But look at all the City players getting pulled into the centre here and leaving Rashford completely and utterly free. Simple. Marcus Rashford right here needs to be scoring a goal. Dush, out it comes. Bang. That's got to be in the goal. It has to. The keeper has to make a great save or at least have it on target. But it's absolutely nowhere near. I'm going to do. Yeah, I've talked enough about Rashford not being good enough and his statistics back up that he's just rubbish at the football. He had one good season where he scored 30 goals and the rest of that he's in the low teens if he ever makes it there. So, but that needs to be on goal, on frame, but it's just not anywhere close. But the build-up play, really nice. Lots of little intricate runs. Pretty good. Well done. I just want to show you, as much as Casemiro's a passenger for United, why Ratface has always been a passenger and he's just not good enough in centre midfield. I don't care what you do when you got the ball at your feet. Every single person, Big Fat Dave down a pub's brilliant with the ball at his feet. When he doesn't have it, guess what? He's Big Fat Dave. But here's when the ball comes in to Ratface right here. Watch what happens. Watch this. Pumph. He wins the ball. He's got it, and he loses it all in the same breath. And this is why he's a passenger. That should have been a United ball there, straight onto the counter attack. Read the pass, and he doesn't. He gets bullied off it. Look, loses it. And he's done. And then the run back and the tracking back, he doesn't really run or track back or get there or make a tackle or really do anything. He's just a passenger. Any decent midfielder there would have won that ball, had that ball under his control and moved the ball forward. Look, you can see his teammates got his hands on his head. Like, why is he just so weak in midfield as our midfielder? He is. He's just weak. So this is what I'm talking about when United first win the ball. They've got a system of play or an idea of what they want to have the ball happen. So when you're saying a system of play, it's what it really is a bunch of ideas. Say we've got 35 ideas. And one of those ideas out of the 35 is going to permeate every single time on the field because of the way things happen, the way movement happens. At least one of our 35 is going to show itself. So that's the way we're going to play the ball. So then we go with Bump. We play the ball. Bump knocks it back, plays it up, back, and then we're going to play it through. Old way of playing football. We knock the ball up, it comes back, and we knock it through. Dosh, and he knocks it through. Now they're off to the races. We've got good movement. As we've learned, movement just means running a lot. So as soon as he touches that ball, though, he's playing the ball in behind because now what they've done is they've broke the Man City, they call it the press. It's not the press, it's the point of pressure. The press, I can't stand that. No, it's not. It's the point of pressure. When the point of pressure is broken, then what happens is you can play balls in behind and do all sorts because you've got time and space. He's got time and space here. Just takes a touch and dinks it over the top. And now it's just down to a foot race. But I tell you what, this is the difference. This is what I wouldn't have done last year, but are now doing already in this pre-season. This ball gets played across the goal, across the front first time to Rashford to completely and utterly whiff it. But it's played first time. There's a couple of reasons he completely whiffs it. One, he takes the arm off this ball and it hits him in the shin because if he's watching the ball, he's actually putting this in the back of the net. He's not. The two, he's not good enough. He's not good enough. People talk about this guy's a great player. He's not. He's just not good enough. So he completely shanks it, and it's the post. But it looks better than it actually was because he hit the post. But I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad miss. And when you watch this as it goes through, you can see it hitting it on the ankle. Dunk. Do you see that? Let's pull that back ever so slightly. You can see where he's making contact with it. He doesn't hit it cleanly, and he completely and utterly mishits it. Shocking. So for that United, this is the United goal, but for the actual Rashford miss, I want to show you something here, which you're going to see. As soon as I say, you're going to, oh yeah, it's exactly the same as that one that they just did a second ago. So when the ball dropped in this area, the first thing this guy did was take a touch and then hoop it over the top. It might be Mason Mount. I'm not sure who this player is here. But he does exactly the same thing. Takes a touch and then just knocks it straight back out wide. That's the first thing he does. Takes a touch, doesn't play around with it. It's in the middle of the field and then just plays the ball. That's happened for the Rashford chance that he completely whiffed because he's terrible at the footballs. And it happens for the goal right here. Takes the touch and just knocks it out wide. There we go. Just runs inside and smashes it into the bottom corner. It all comes down to the quickness of transition. As fast as that ball gets dropped into the midfield there, takes that little touch, dinks it over the top, bit of pace and power, runs off and smashes it to the corner of the net box. 1-0 to United. Let's have a look at the Man City goal because there's still some problematic things for United's defence here. And I know I'm not covering much on Man City because I'm going to be doing a separate video on them, why they're not going to win the league this year. But yeah, that's why I'm not really covering them so much in this video. To me, again, this is why this Martinez character isn't that good of a defender. He's not great when he's on the ball. He makes too many mistakes, just doesn't get punished for them. But watch this right here. This is where we're looking. We're right here in this little bit of a bubble here. Now, I think this is Oscar Bob again. I'm not quite sure. But he doesn't do I had to look at it a couple of times. He doesn't do a little shifty shimmy that way. He kind of just sort of stands still and just standing still completely destroys Martinez. Just destroys him. Watch this. As he goes, dosh, do you see that? He stood still, and as he received the ball, then he just exploded away. Stood still, and then went. Doof. Stood still, and then went. That's all he did. And he made Martinez just look like a muppet. Absolutely shocking. That's how easy it was for him to beat him. Nothing special, just stood still and then went. Martinez couldn't read it, couldn't get close to him, and then, yeah, it's a simple crossover and a tap in on the back post. But that's worrying if your best defender is getting beaten that easy. Well, supposed best defender, Rafael Varane's now gone, hasn't he? So, yeah, that isn't good enough at this level. It's just not. That is worrying for you as a manager going, oh, God, that's inside the box. He's getting done that easily. Ooh. 1v1, the guy's, he's facing away from the goal. You've got his back in front of you there. You can say, oh, he's gone. Oh, look, they've scored. Oh, bugger. And you know he's done poor. I'll show you why he knows he's done poorly. When Bernardo Silva headers this goal in, watch his reaction. Watch his reaction. Hands on his head. He knows it's his fault. That's even more worrying because he's self-aware. He knows that that's his problem. He's had that goal. That's on him, that is. All on him. And he knows it. That can dent his confidence. That can make him play even worse than he's playing if it's possible. But other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.